I reviewed two videos, the first being The New Era of Positive Psychology and the second being The Secret. The first was delivered by Professor Seligman in a Saturday morning seminar style environment. And his main points were that the state of positive psychology can certainly be better in the years to come. For the past 60 or so years, we have been using the disease model to address mental illness patients. Today, the current state of psychology is that we can make miserable people less miserable. He also asked a question that can positive psychology make people happier with a target variable of just how much happiness does a person receive? Some of his claims were that there's a new science of mental illness where 14 disorders were identified, 2 of them now curable. Also, that different forms of happiness can be measured and studied and modified. And lastly, one of the downsides about the previous disease model process was that those who were already happy and successful were left out. So this promises to change all that. 3 of the aims of positive psychology were to help those who are already successful and happy by making them happier. And that psychology, positive psychology, should be just as concerned with an individual's strengths as it is with their weaknesses. Also, psychology should be interested in building the best things in life as it is repairing the worst. And lastly, positive psychology should be concerned with making lives of normal people better and more fulfilling. So what are happy people? How do we define happy people? What are those individuals categorized as? Supposedly happy people are extremely sociable. They have many friends, and that they're also said to be involved in romantic relationships. Dr. Seligman put these folks in 3 categories of happy lives. And the first was the good life. And the good life is pleasure versus eudaimonium flow. I had never heard the term before. I know what it means now. Pleasure, if I can explain this correctly, is when an individual experiences something pleasurable or you feel it immediately, you experience it, you know it's happening. Whereas eudaimonium flow occurs when an individual is taking part in something that they enjoy tremendously. Kind of probably like when I'm scuba diving. I never know what time it is. I can't tell initially how long I've been underwater unless I check my dive computer, but I understand completely what he means by eudaimonium flow. The next is the pleasant life, and this is basically having as many pleasures as you possibly can. Although 50% of these is said to be heritable. And then the last type is the meaningful life. And this is where an individual determines their strengths and they use these strengths to achieve something larger for the betterment of others, to take part in something that's better than yourselves. I didn't detect any false claims during Dr. Selig's presentation. The scientific claims that he made were pretty sound. The field of psychology is already an established discipline. The medical studies were obviously based on a hypothesis which demonstrated the experiment with the expected results. So one can perform their own independent research if need be. He gave data. He gave a couple of websites. He mentioned some individuals who either worked with him on this project or who were just in the field as well. So I found his claims to be scientifically sound as far as I could tell. On the other hand, The Secret was more of a confidence-building presentation. Again, it was for personal betterment as well as positive psychology, but the delivery was just totally different. This appeared to be made for television and not a seminar-styled environment. The first claim that this video made was that the secret is the law of attraction, and that the law of attraction is always working. Some of the correct claims that I thought they made was that human beings are governed by emotions, and emotions are governed by events in life. I believe that, certainly believe that. They also mentioned, which I would consider an accurate claim, is that you are the architect of your life. You are the creator of your masterpiece, which in other words just basically states you are responsible for how you plan on living your life. And last was that optimism and positive thinking can bring about a positive outcome in everyday life. I also believe that, but only to a certain degree. I don't believe because a person leaves their home in a great mood, happy, that their day is just going to go great. You are impervious to accident or those sorts of things. I mean, and hence the term accident. I mean, it's an unexpected event. That's why we call it accident. I do believe that people who work at having and presenting a more positive demeanor are more likely to experience those who are the same. I believe that, and I think people who leave their homes angry for whatever reason are either going to end up in a corner by themselves, or they're going to end up talking to other angry people. So I believe those. But there were some claims that were made by the video that I don't believe. And one of those was that your negative thoughts attract negative events. Again, like accidents or debt or illness or these sorts of things. Your thoughts bring these about. And one of the things that went through my mind is that there are those who are sometimes born with debilitating disease before they're old enough to even begin thoughts, which aren't measurable. There are people who are just predisposed to certain medical conditions, unfavorable medical conditions, who, you know, less than a year old and have not developed thoughts yet, at least as we know them. Another was that the secret will give you happiness and health and wealth as long as you believe. I don't believe that either. One speaker mentioned that the cancer just dissolved in front of his eyes. And there is, as far as we know, there's no cure for cancer. We can treat the symptoms. There are some methods for eradicating a lot of it, but as a disease, we have not cured cancer. We're still battling that. Also, they mentioned another claim that I don't believe, and that is that thoughts have frequency. And as far as I know, we cannot measure thoughts. So whatever is there, it is not measurable as a frequency is. So that was another false claim that I thought this video did. It was more made for television, I think, as opposed to a professional crowd looking to walk away with some knowledge of a particular study. There was no hypothesis involved. The speakers were all surrounded by a lot of effects, made for television effects. The screen changers had all sorts of things going on in the background and that sort of stuff. I thought it was a great motivational video, but it was not based in science. It wasn't based on science. They also mentioned that a positive thought is much more powerful than a negative thought. That may be so in theory, but I do not believe that is a scientific claim either. and I don't believe that is something that would pass testable hypothesis. Some of that particular presentation was also surrounded with a lot of belief and a lot of religious undertones, which just isn't scientific as well. Overall, I found both those videos very entertaining. I learned a lot. Some things about me and my success and failure with stress. I work in the plasma industry. I'm a manager at a plasma donation center. There is a constant push for production, for plasma. We just need more than we can get every single day. That is a tremendous amount of stress. My center is open 7 days a week. What I have done, rather than come home and just flop on the couch, is I've started doing things that kept me healthy and in shape in my former life in the military. As I started working out again. Usually when I come home and I'm stressed out, I'll just watch the news. I might drink coffee or tea, and I won't eat. And I know that's unhealthy. So I've started, eating again when I'm stressed out. I don't eat that much. I've never been much of a heavy eater. I'm not overweight in any way, but I do eat dinner now, although it might just be soup, it might be a salad, or it might be pasta, something like that. So I've started using some of the things that I've picked up, just learning a little bit more about stress. A lot of it I've already known. I mean, I've lived it. I was an Army paratrooper for over 20 years. I know what stress is. But I've been reacquainted with a lot of the things that I picked up in this course, and I've started to practice them and tell others, namely some of the folks that I work with and some who work for me, some of the things that I know about stress. Some of the failures, or at least one particular failure, is in my job is emails. I returned from Puerto Rico about 2 weeks ago. The initial 5 days was conference, but I stayed an initial 4 days just for the relaxation. So I came back a little bit more rejuvenated, feeling a little bit more motivated and rested. But one thing about my job that I have not conquered is emails. I had well over 1,000 emails when I came back. Most of those are not meant for me. I am courtesy copied because people figure because I'm the manager that I will somehow look over their work and either reinforce what they wrote or add to it. I can't read 1,000 emails. I don't know how anybody reads 1,000 emails. I can't, and I don't see myself doing it anytime soon. So that's a failure for me. A lot of the emails are generated automatically from some website or something that we do in the center. We have freezer alarms, etc., etc. I get emails from them every single day. Technically, I don't have to read them, but there could be some data in there that I miss, and I don't want to miss anything. So I just consider it a failure, and I take it one day at a time. I think I can do a better job of it. I need a little bit more time on it. Overall, this was a great project, and I'm looking forward to doing some more. Thank you.